Welcome back, decoders, to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and this is my Super Bowl 57 decode of the symbolism that I found pointing to this Super Bowl. And let me just preface this by saying that in this video, I'm going to move through a few different topics. The first topic is Rihanna, the Super Bowl halftime performer, the egg symbolism, and then I'm going to talk about Batman and Robin, and also Heinz ketchup. So with that being said, if you guys are interested, I'm just letting you guys know how I'm going to make these connections before, so you guys can, decide whether, because this is going to be a bit of a longer video. So if you want to stick around and get all this symbolism, some of this stuff is very mind-blowing. So let's jump right in. The first thing I want you to notice, guys, during the video for Rihanna when she that she made before the Super Bowl, saying that she was going to be the halftime performer, she shows this this moment where she's wearing this yellow and black attire, and she's standing in what looks to be an egg. Notice that the way they took the picture, the shape is an egg shape. And notice that she's wearing yellow. And I just want to give a big shout out to Donut again, his YouTube channel, Donut Factory. He pointed out this egg symbolism a lot, but I'm going to also add some stuff to this. But it's very clear that she's standing in an egg and she's wearing a yellow yolk, which could also represent the sun, as the sun is kind of the yolk of the universe, or the galaxy, whatever you want to call it. But the black is also very symbolic, because I've been talking a lot about the sun. My last video, I explained how Super Bowl 57 is aligned with the Great Carrington event that blacked out Earth from a solar flare. So this black and yellow is going to come up later on in this video. But I just wanted you guys to notice the egg symbolism, okay? That looks like an egg, and she's standing in the middle of it with a yellow attire, but also black. In Taylor Swift's recent video that's very popular right now, she starts the video by cutting an egg open, but instead of a yellow yolk, it's black. So I just wanted to point out that symbolism as well. And Rihanna, the egg is all about birth, guys. This is how, birds, chickens, this is how they give birth, through an egg. And Rihanna just gave birth. And she supposedly had her baby on May 13th, 2022. And this birth symbolism is very important in this Super Bowl 57. Why? Well, because birth ritual equals 57. Birth also equals 57. Mother of Jesus equals 57. There's so many words tied to birth and mother and all this other stuff that equal 57. Also notice that Super Bowl birth ritual equals 269, which is the 57th prime. So whether you type in birth ritual equaling 57 or Super Bowl birth ritual 269, which is the 57th prime, you're going to get this same connection to Super Bowl 57. And if that wasn't enough, the egg symbolism is important, because notice that the letters in egg are 5, 7, 7, right? And what's interesting is that these letters add up to 19, 5 plus 7 plus 7, and that gets you 19, which is the sun card. I just mentioned that the sun is like the yolk and the yellow, right? And it's interesting that when you add the 577, like Super Bowl 57, you get 19, which is going right back to the sun, which is the sun tarot card, is the 19th card in the tarot deck. And there's so many other connections with sun and 19, but I'm not going to get into them here. But just notice, guys, once again, that the egg is the 5-7. Okay? And there's no coincidence that we've been having egg shortages, or not shortages, but high prices on eggs Okay? And this has been a big story leading up to the Super Bowl. And again, this is all about this birthing egg symbolism. And Rihanna even has a famous instance where she was wearing a dress that looked like an egg, and people were making fun. I mean, to me, this looks like a yolk, guys, or an omelet, as some people called it. But again, once again, going back to the egg. Okay? But the same color that she was wearing when she was standing in the egg for the Super Bowl commercial. Now, remember, guys, this was many years before this Super Bowl commercial where she's standing in the egg, and yet she's still giving this egg symbolism to us. Okay? Now, Rihanna, her real name is Robin Rihanna Fenty. Okay, and I'm going to talk about the name Robin in a little bit because this guy's the Batman and Robin, and also the bird. But before I get to that, I just want to point out this is a huge connection, guys, because in Hindu mythology and in many of the mythologies around the world, there's something known as the cosmic egg, which means the hatching of, because Earth's crust and Earth's makeup is very similar to that of an egg, okay? And we have the outer crust, and then we have the inner core, which is the yolk. And this ties back to the earthquake that just happened, because the earthquake is involving the earth and its crust and the movement, almost the cracking of the egg. But I want you to notice that if you abbreviate Rihanna's name with her middle initial, which I do quite often, it's a direct match to cosmic egg. And this cosmic egg comes from mainly Hindu mythology. Of course, there's others. But I want you to notice, once again, that this whole cosmic egg thing comes from the Hindu god Brahma. And he's the creator god, okay? He's associated with creation knowledge in Vedas. Brahma is prominently mentioned in creation legends. In some Puranas, he's created himself in a golden embryo. Notice that even the picture here, guys, has him inside of a egg-shaped, it's an egg shape that he's sitting inside of. And he's said to have created himself in a golden embryo. Once again, going back to this egg symbolism. Now, I also want you to notice that Rihanna Fenty, if you use her name how she would probably say her name, because she uses Rihanna as her first name, it's once again a direct match to the golden embryo. And I just showed you how she's tied to this egg symbolism, wearing this yellow gold egg color, right? And another thing I want to point out here is that if you do a little bit more digging into this Hindu tradition, you're going to see that they call this the universal womb, is the source of creation of the universe, or the manifested cosmos. It finds mentioned in one of the hymns of the Rig Veda, known as the Hiranyagarbha Sutta, suggesting a single creator deity. He is the God of gods and none beside him, identified in this hymn as Prajapati. The concept of the golden womb is first mentioned in, like I said, I don't know how to say these words, guys, but they characterize it as the primeval womb. And this is also going back to this Matsyana Purana, gives an account of the initial creation after the Mahapralaya, the great dissolution of the universe. There was darkness everywhere. Everything was in a state of sleep. There was nothing either moving or static. Now, does this remind you of the original biblical account where there was darkness over the waters, right? This reminds me once again of the egg. Now, notice that it says the Samvada self-manifested being arose, which is formed beyond senses. It created the primordial waters first, and established the seed of creation into it. The seed turned into a golden womb. Again, going back to this egg, the Samvada entered into that egg. Okay? So this is their creation story in Hindu. And again, this reminds me of the very beginning of the creation in the Bible with the waters. the primordial waters, and the self-manifested God, the only God. And this, again, is very much tied to birth, because notice that the word self-manifested equals 57, just like birth, just like childbirth. And then you notice that the golden ratio equals 57. And this goes back to the golden embryo, the golden womb, which is what they called it back here, the golden womb, the yellow. Also notice that universal womb, which is what they also called it, equals 57. So you're getting all these 57s tied to this womb and to this egg symbolism. Remember, egg is 577, okay? Now, Rihanna's baby was born on May 13th, okay, supposedly. And from that day into Super Bowl 57 is the 276th day, which is the 23rd triangular number. Now, 23, we're in the year 2023, so it's interesting that it's exactly the 23rd triangular number from the day that her baby was born to the Super Bowl. And now let's switch gears, guys, and talk about Rihanna's first name, which is Robin. Kind of like the bird Robin, or Batman's sidekick, Robin. And also, our president's current middle name is Robinette, just so you guys know. Now, I want you guys to notice that her name means bright, famous one, which equals 74. And in Gematria, Jesus equals 74, Lucifer equals 74, her first name, Robin, equals 74, and the quarterback in the Super Bowl, Mahomes, his last name, equals 74, once again matching Robin. I talked a lot about the key in my Key of David Decode. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. But the key also equals 74 and 29. And just notice, guys, that football, which is what this whole thing is about, also equals 29. So the 74, tying back to Jesus and Rihanna's first name, and Mahomes, the quarterback, and the meaning of her name, bright, famous one, even means equals 74. And this brings me to the robin symbolism, because the robin is a symbol of, as a tiny bird, has been the symbol of good luck, happiness, and rebirth. Again, guys, this is all about birth. And sometimes even a messenger from lost loved ones. There are tales stretching back to Norse mythology where the robin is the protector from storms and lightning, and in Celtic folklore, the robin is known as the Oak King of Summer. Okay? The robin was voted as Britain's unofficial national bird in 1960 and again in 2015. So again, guys, this is Britain's unofficial national bird. We just had the Queen die. So this is all tied to the Queen as well, and how Rihanna is symbolizing this transition of power. But this Robin, because her first name is Robin, okay? But this also ties back into the symbolism of where does a bird come from, guys? A bird comes from an egg. And the phoenix, which also symbolizes rebirth out of the ashes, is tied to this bird symbolism. Because remember, guys, the birds, the eagles, are in this Super Bowl. And you have this tie with the singer of the Super Bowl being named Robin, like the bird, which means rebirth, just like the phoenix, another bird, that means rebirth. And I want you guys to notice that the Super Bowl is taking place near Phoenix, again going back to the bird phoenix, but it's also taking place in State Farm Stadium. Now, what do you guys think of when you hear the word farm? You think of chickens and eggs and pigs and obviously other animals, but what is on a farm, guys? It's eggs and chickens. Once again, going back to this egg and chicken symbolism and birds. All right? And this is where we get really crazy, because there was a movie in 2012 called The Dark Knight Rises, okay? And it released in 2012, and in this game, or in this movie, it features an attack on a stadium, a football stadium. And during this attack, it's Bane who is attacking the stadium. And as this player is making a run towards the end zone, the whole field behind him is collapsing on itself. And just notice the colors, guys. It's the gold again. The gold and black, like Rihanna is wearing the gold and black. But notice his number and his name. This is actually an NFL football player, guys. His name is Heinz Ward. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who also wear gold or yellow and black. Okay? So I started doing more digging into Heinz Ward. And Heinz Ward is the current head football coach of the XFL, which is another football company that will be starting their season on the 18th of February. He's the current coach of the Brahmas, the San Antonio Brahmas. Just notice the word Brahma. I told you that the Hindu god Brahma was said to have created himself in an egg. And now this guy who's in this Batman movie watching a football stadium collapse, he just happens to be the new coach of the San Antonio Brahmas, which also sounds similar to, if you rearrange the letters in Brahma, you almost get the word Abraham, and this Super Bowl is on Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Okay? And he's coaching the Brahmas, who's owned by Dwayne Johnson, the famous actor and wrestler. And this will be his first season, Heinz Ward's first season. And just notice, guys, that his full name, Heinz Edward Ward Jr., is a direct match to the team he's coaching, San Antonio Brahmas. And again, guys, going back to the egg symbolism, how the Hindu god Brahma was said to have created himself in an egg-shaped, as I showed you before. And again, the color symbolism is the same, the yellow and the black, like Rihanna was wearing. Now, what's interesting, guys, is from the day of Rihanna's birthday to the Super Bowl was 276 days. And I told you that, that's the 23rd triangular number in the year 2023. But notice that the guy's name, Ward, which is on the back of his jersey when he's running in the football stadium during the Batman movie, is his last name in Sumerian equals 276. And it's 276 days from the birth of Rihanna's baby to the Super Bowl. Okay? Now, from the release of the actual movie in New York on July 16, 2012, to the Super Bowl this year is exactly 10 years, 212 days. Notice that the movie was released in 2012, which if you drop the 0 is 212, and from the New York release to the Super Bowl is 10 years, 212 days, and the Super Bowl is on 212. Okay? So, very much aligned with this 212. Now, going back to the Robin symbolism, guys, in the movie, the very last thing that happens is, in the aftermath, Batman is presumed dead and honored as a hero. Wayne Manor becomes an orphanage, and Bruce's estate is left to Alfred. Okay, but skip down here to the bottom. In Florence, Alfred glimpses Bruce is alive in a relationship with Kyle, who's a Catwoman, and they silently acknowledge each other. Blake, whose legal first name is revealed as Robin. Okay? So here we go, guys. This Batman symbology. Remember, I just talked about how Rihanna's first name is Robin. And Robin, in this Batman movie where Heinz Ward runs and the football stadium collapses, the very last thing we see in the whole movie is Robin getting the keys essentially to the Batcave, because it says Robin resigns from GCPD and receives a parcel from Bruce, leading him to the Batcave. So this movie, Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, ends with Robin, the bird, rising and going to the Batcave. Okay? And Rihanna is associated with Batman because notice that there's an article that was released on September 17, 2019, which is also the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes' birthday. Rihanna addresses the Batman poison ivy rumors, admits her obsession, okay? And in the article it says, rumor Rihanna casting generated so much buzz the singer was asked directly about by Entertainment Tonight, and while Rihanna says she has not been cast in the movie, she would like to audition for Poison Ivy. Again, this is so tied together, guys. She wants to play Poison Ivy in the Batman movie. Okay? And if that wasn't enough, guys, just to show that this is important and the Batman symbolism is tied to the Super Bowl, one of the Kelce brothers, remember there's 2 Kelce brothers in the Super Bowl this year. One of them name is Jason Kelce, who plays for the Eagles. The other one is Travis Kelce, who plays for the Chiefs. Notice that this year the Eagles happened to do a Batman thing. And notice that Jason Kelce is wearing a Batman mask. Okay? And here's the story. The team's top wideouts earned the nickname from cornerback Darius Slay back in September when the Eagles were just 2-0, and their current standings as the NFL's only remaining undefeated team was a mere pipe dream. A.J. Brown was Swole Batman, Devonta Smith was Skinny Batman, Quez Watkins was Fast Batman. And then it says, no Robins. We ain't got no sidekicks. So again, guys, they're making this so clear that this is tied to Batman, which goes back to Heinz Ward, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. So eventually, Jason Kelce, the brother, becomes Fat Batman, okay, as it says down here at the bottom. So the Eagles had a whole charade with Batman this year on Halloween of all days. And, guess what team they were playing when they did this Batman thing? They were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, which Heinz Ward played for. Okay, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have this yellow and black colors, just like Rihanna was wearing, just like Heinz Ward was wearing in the Batman movie, and just like the Steelers' colors. Notice that the Eagles blew out the Steelers 35-13 in that game. So again, this is the same game they were having the Batman symbolism. And I just want you guys to notice that going back to Robin, Batman's sidekick, if you notice Robin's colors, his main colors are yellow, red, and green. This just happens to be the 3 main colors in the Super Bowl, as the Chiefs wear red and yellow, just like Robin wears red and yellow, and the Eagles, which are a bird like a robin, wear the green. So notice that he has all of the 3 colors of the 3 Super Bowl teams, not to mention he has the black, which the Eagles represent, and, the black symbolism with Rihanna that I just showed you. So what are the chances of that, guys? That the 2 teams have the same 3 colors that Robin is also known for having. Okay? And if that doesn't get enough for you guys, just notice this, guys. Heinz Ward, who played in the Batman movie, his name is Heinz, kind of like Heinz ketchup. And Heinz has a Heinz 57, just like it's Super Bowl 57. Heinz 57 ketchup, okay? Notice that Heinz 57 equals 74, like Mahomes, who's the quarterback for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, like Robin, Rihanna's first name equaled 74. I showed you guys that back earlier. But also notice that Heinz 57 is a direct match to Heinz Ward, okay? And it's not a coincidence that Heinz ketchup has the Heinz 57, and we're talking about Super Bowl 57. And there's even a commercial before the Super Bowl this year on February 3rd, why Heinz taught Super Bowl fans that LVII means 57. Okay, guys? So, again, all about this symbolism of Heinz Ward. What are the chances that his name is Heinz Ward? He plays in the Batman movie. This is tied to Robin, who's Rihanna, the sidekick of Batman. The Eagles wore the Batman uniforms against the Steelers, who Heinz Ward played for when he was a football player. And now you have Heinz 57 ketchup, and it's Super Bowl 57, okay? And one of their Super Bowl 57 commercials, or one of the Heinz Super Bowl commercials a few years ago, had a commercial of 4 different dimensions. One, it looks like an alien. And we've just had all this this news about these things, these unidentified objects being shot down. But this was a Heinz ketchup commercial, guys, of 4 different worlds coming together. And this just brings me back to this alien symbolism that might come from all this UFO stuff that's taking place right now, the Chinese spy balloon, all that other stuff. But just notice that the Heinz company is in Pittsburgh, where Heinz Ward played, and that have the orange or the yellow and black, just like Rihanna was wearing. And again, guys, all this symbolism, this is the end of my video, but I just wanted to bring it all together here. There's something going on here with this Batman and Robin symbolism, the Heinz ketchup, going back to Heinz Ward, who played in the Batman movie where the field was collapsing. Rihanna's name is Robin, like Batman's sidekick. And not to mention, guys, the Super Bowl this year is on the day leaving 322 days left in the year. And that's the Skull and Bones number, the secret society. And in the Batman narrative, it was Batman's dad who founded the Skull and Bones. So again, this is all going back to Batman. Last year, there was a Batman movie that was released called The Batman, and it shows the city being flooded. So there's a lot of symbolism here, but and there's so much I couldn't really put it all together and without making the video just absolutely too long. But I hope you guys understood how all this comes together, and there's probably a lot more to add. So if anyone has any amazing nuggets to add to this, please do so in the comments below. But thanks for watching, guys. We're going to see what happens in the Super Bowl. I'm not making any predictions on who's going to win, because honestly, right now, that's not the important thing to me. It's more about calling out the symbolism that I'm seeing. So anyways, guys, take care out there. I hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you in the next video.